Hello everyone and welcome to the next mini tutorial here on the Ducttapestuff channel. In this mini tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a pretty popular request I've been getting over the past few weeks. A lot of people have asked me to make a duct tape ninja star tutorial, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing in this video. Now the ninja star is usually something that you'd make out of paper just because it works a lot better with paper. Since the paper is thin, it tends to fold really well and it all tucks into itself much easier when you're using paper. But we're actually going to be using it out of duct tape. So let's get started here on making this. Before we get started here on actually making the square, which we're going to start folding the star out of, I just want to say that we're going to need four pretty heavy rolls of tape that have a lot of tape on them, so they're pretty heavy. And you're going to be using these to actually hold down different pieces. So if you just grab four heavy rolls or just something that's really heavy, and you'll be able to use those to weigh down certain pieces, because the duct tape is going to be it's not going to fold really well, and it's really try to fight you the entire time. So that's what I'm going to use these heavy rolls of tape for, to hold stuff down when I'm not actually working on it. So let's get started here on our first step on making the duct tape ninja star. Okay, so for our first step, we're actually going to take a whole bunch of 6-inch strips, and we're going to make a 6-inch by 6-inch square sheet of tape. So we're going to take my first two strips here, and 4 isn't actually going to be enough. You're going to actually take a few more strips to apply here to make your square. But I'll just give you guys a basic idea of how this is going to work. Just take your first two, stick them together just like that. Take your third one, overlap by a little bit, flip the whole thing over. Take your fourth one here, stick it on the bottom, cover up the rest of the sticky side, and then flip the whole thing over. And you're going to take a few more 6-inch strips until you get a sheet of tape that's 6 inches high, and obviously it's already 6 inches long because these are 6-inch long strips. So just keep cutting out those strips until you're able to make a sheet that is 6 inches high, and then we'll start working on our duct tape ninja star. So do that step right now. Alright, so once you have your 6-inch by 6-inch square, we're pretty much going to just do any trimming on the sides if you need to, just make sure none of the sticky sides are showing. Then basically what we're going to do is we're going to find the halfway point, which if it's 6 inches by 6 inches, it'll be 3 inches. So I'm just going to go right here in the center, and I'm just going to cut this entire sheet in half, just like this. There we go. So now we have those two sheets. Now we're going to start doing the folding that's going to be needed to make the ninja star. So let's get started on that. Alright, so from here we're going to take these two sheets and we're actually going to fold them in half just like this. Now depending on the way that the strips were stuck together, it might have an easier way of folding, so you might want to fold it this way, or you might want to fold it like back the other way. It all depends on where the strips ended up when you stuck them on, so each way is probably going to have an easier way of folding. So you just want to find that and obviously go with it, because you definitely don't want this to fight you any more than it's going to. So once you got that fold down just like that, we're going to take our first heavy roll here, and that's why I have those 4 rolls over here, and I'm going to take those 2 and just lay them down on top of it just like that. Next we're going to take our second one here, and we're going to fold this in half just like we did the other one. Definitely make sure that crease is really defined and that it gets used to being folded, because this is nothing compared to what we're going to be doing eventually with the tape. So we take these 2, and we're going to lay it down right on top of it like that, just like this. So now basically what you want to do, if you can actually take like a couple minutes or so, just leave it like this, and then that'll hopefully give you guys make it a little bit easier for you eventually when you do stick them all together and start folding them. So I'll probably just leave it like that for a few minutes and then come back to it, and we'll go to our next step from there. So after you've let that sit for a few minutes, we're actually going to do the top and bottom parts of the fold. So we're going to take those 2 off for this one. We're going to take the top here, and we're going to fold this part in just like this. So you kind of make a triangle out of it. You might get a little bit of an overlap on there, or one of them might not be as shorter, so you kind of want to adjust it and try to make sure that those 2 edges come close to each other as possible, because it's just going to make it harder for you later on if they aren't close to being lined up. So you want to try doing that. Next what we're going to do on the bottom here is we're actually going to fold this one this way, just like this. So we're going to got that one folded that way, and then this one on the bottom folded like this. So now once again, take that piece, stick it there, and that piece, and stick it there. And then we'll work on the one over here the exact same way. So for the one over here, we're just going to take these off here. I'm going to fold this piece in like this. And this piece over here is kind of going to be a mirror image of the one we have under here, so that's pretty much what it's going to look like. And then you take this bottom piece and flip it up just like this. So we got that, and then we got that just like this. Make sure that's creased down. So we're going to lay that back on top, and then lay this one back on top down here. Okay, then we're going to let that sit for a few minutes. Alright, so now we're going to do our third round of folding here. So let's take these off here. And we're going to fold this one over like this, so it makes it an even bigger triangle. And you want to kind of line up that middle part with this line that's already on here on the middle piece. And basically what we're going to do for the other one here is do the exact same thing, except we're going to fold it the other way. So you will have it so it looks pretty much like this. Two pyramids, except one right side up and one upside down. So we're just going to put that down here and put that back on. Now let's work on the one over here. This one's going to fold like this. And you shouldn't see any creases or any lines on the pyramid, so if you see any of those lines, you're folding it the wrong way. So this should be one solid piece. You won't see like any fold over lines or anything like that. And we'll fold this bottom one up like this. Then just stick it down here and throw this back on top again. Just like that. And then we're going to let that sit for a few minutes. Alright, I'll be honest, this is the part where it starts to get pretty crazy, so let's just pay close attention here and you shouldn't have too many problems. So basically what we're going to do is take the ones off the side here. We're going to take it so it looks just about this. We're going to flip it over so you have this piece here. Looks like that. You want to make sure they do line up again, so make sure that, if they are totally off, you want to make sure they are folded and they're all nice and close to each other, the different folds. You take this part off here. And this is when you're going to wish you had more than two hands, but just bear with me here. So I'm going to flip this over here, and we're just going to lay this right on top right here. So it kind of looks like an abstract star right there. That's kind of what it looks like. A little crazy, but that's pretty much what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to take this part up here, and you're going to fold it into another triangle. So this will become the point up here. So I'll show you that again. You're going to fold it this way so that part over here becomes the point. And you're going to fold it so that this piece actually tucks into this piece in here. Just like this. There we go. So that's our first step. So hold that down and then we'll move on to our next one. So once you've got that top piece tucked in there, we're actually going to take the bottom piece here and do the exact same thing. So we're going to fold that into a diagonal, and that's actually going to tuck inside this one here. So you're going to tuck that underneath there and make sure that it lines up on the edge here, so that makes another point. So this is what you should have so far. So you got these two are tucked in, and these two are still sticking out with, a little bit on the back here, just like this. So next what we're going to do is flip the whole thing over, and we're going to start tucking these in as well. So we'll flip the whole thing over, and now we'll start tucking these in. So this is the whole thing flipped over, so now we want to arrange it so you have this part on the right here like this, and this part on the left. Next, it's started going to get really hard at this point because now we're really running out of room to tuck things, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this one, folded that into another triangle, and this little piece is actually going to tuck inside of this one here. So stick that in there as best you can. And if one just pops out just like this, you can basically just tuck it right back in again. You're pretty much going to tape a few of these down. You wouldn't have to on a paper one, but with the duct tape one, it's definitely going to want to pop out. So I just tuck that one back in again, and you might have to do that a few times depending on how much it's fighting you. So you got that one tucked in right there. So that's 3 points done. So now we're going to take our last one here, and this is going to be the hardest. So we're going to fold that into a point, and then this one is actually going to tuck inside of this one right here. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's just barely right there. So I'm going to tuck that in as best you can, and that'll turn this part into a point right here. And there you basically have our duct tape ninja star. So now we're going to take some duct tape and make sure it doesn't pop open at all. So that's pretty much how to make a duct tape ninja star. And basically, to make sure that these don't pop open, you just take a small strip of tape. You can make it the same color if you want to, and just one stuck over the center pieces on both sides will prevent it from popping open. And that's pretty much how you make them. Now you can modify them a little bit just to make them a little bit neater. Like generally, the thicker the tape, the more it's going to fight you, and that's kind of going to make the design a little messed up. So if you use like really thin tape, like this one here was made out of utility grade tape, which is generally pretty thin, so that's why it probably came out a little bit nicer. But you know, you just can mess around with them. They'll get better over time as you do make them. So that's pretty much how to make them. I don't want to say they're pretty much an item that has no practical use, but they are pretty little fun props to make, and if you ever feel like dressing up like as a ninja, you can use duct tape ninja stars. So anyway, that's a tutorial that I wanted to crank out for a little while now, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this mini tutorial on making duct tape ninja stars. You can make them in any colors you want to. Actually really cool if you like did a two-toned one, if you made them out of different colored duct tape, you know, like different size and stuff like that. So that'd be kind of cool to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this mini tutorial, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Subscribe if you want to. Check out the Facebook fan page and become a part of the duct tape empire today. See you next time, guys.